Welcome to episode 66. We are recording live on October 5, 2014. This is Beyond Social Media Show. I am David Erickson, your co-host. You can find me at D. on Twitter. I blog at e-strategyblog.com. I am wearing a Fleetwood Mac cap today because I'm psyched about the first concert I saw, Fleetwood Mac in Minneapolis. They kicked off their tour here, and I went to the show, and it was fantastic. And that's all I'll say about that. I am with, of course, BL Achman, my wonderful co-host. You can find BL at What's Next on Twitter. Her blog is what'snextblog.com, and she, of course, is the CEO of Maximum Plus, where you can find Maximum Plus at maximum-plus.com for all things Google Plus. We start the show with the worst that happened in online communications. We follow it with the best of social media communications. We talk about some shiny new objects we found, and then wrap it up with some stats that you'll want to know. And of course, BL, you have the honors. What was the worst of last week?
Well, there's some pretty awful stuff that happened last week, Dave, but this is high on my list of worst ever, and this is probably a marketing stunt, but it's about the opening of a bar for pregnant women, and the name of it is Gestation, and supposedly it opens on October 25th at 504 East 5th Street in Manhattan, and their slogan is "Visit us on October 25th before that water breaks, because you're drinking for two now." And the bigger the belly, the more you can drink, and a few other slogans like that. And you know, likelihood is a viral marketing stunt for an app about bars, which I'm not going to name. But I thought that was pretty awful. It's right up there. And then another one that, I mean, as you know, one of my pet peeves is Likegating, and at long last, Facebook has outlawed it. And beginning in November, you are no longer allowed to force anybody to like your Facebook page just to see content or enter a contest or any of the other stupid reasons that people do that for, because it's really true that people who will like your page to get a coupon or enter a contest or see some content don't actually like you. And they never come back. Statistics prove it. So it's a stupid way to pump up the numbers for your boss, I guess. But so one of my favorite brands, which is Eileen Fisher, is Likegating by trying to force you to like their page on Facebook in order to enter a contest to win a shopping spree in their stores, and also to see the current collection. Well, I don't want to see the current collection that badly, because every time you like a page in Facebook, believe it or not, and most people don't seem to, you give them all of your information, all of your friends' information, all of the public information that any of them have ever shared, just to get a coupon? I think not. So, you know, Eileen Fisher, bad move. Facebook, that's a good move.
Well, it's fascinating to me. Of your reasons are basically for privacy, right? I mean, you don't want to give away a bunch of data. You see a lot of companies reacting to the concern that people have about privacy these days. Google is changing some of its policies. Facebook, and I've got a worst regarding privacy in some sense, and Facebook. So along those lines, Facebook recently apologized to drag queens, right? Now, I'm listing this in the worst not because of the fact that they apologize, not because of the fact that drag queens and the LGBT community want some anonymity. I understand the need for anonymity online, right? There are plenty of legitimate reasons why people want to be anonymous online. But my thing is, one of the things that works with Facebook is the fact that they tie your identity to your comments, right? There's a real name, and it is one of maybe the only mass audience site where it is generally civil. Conversations that happen on Facebook are typically civil compared to YouTube, compared to blogs, compared to other things, because your identity is tied to your comments, right? You own your comments. So I don't think that Facebook should be changing their policies for that very reason. You can be anonymous online in other ways. You can be anonymous online on Facebook by creating a fake account, right? I mean, you don't have to have your real identity tied to it. So there's my worst. I think.
Well, theoretically, you can't create a fake account, although of course we all know that you can. And yes, I understand the need for anonymity in certain cases, but I never understand the need for Likegating. But I mean, it's not just privacy, because whatever you put online publicly, that's your decision. And don't complain about it when it's not kept private, because you put it there. You gave it away. Your privacy was not taken. It was given away. I will always have that point of view. The first time you got a credit card, you gave your privacy away. I mean, get over it. That's the world we live in. But I think from the standpoint of brands, you know, you're going to force somebody to like your page. Under what reasoning? That they then are going to follow your brand? They're not. They want what's there that day. They're not coming back. So it's all fake. What's the point of that?
In your example as well, it is creating an obstacle for things that they want, presumably, the public to see, right? Their new line of fashion.
Yeah, exactly. So why would you do that? But another thing that sort of backfired is the Olive Garden announced that they had bottomless pasta. And these things with free food often backfire. This is far from the first time it's happened. So the problem was they only had 1,000 never-ending pasta passes, and they sold out 45 minutes after they launched it. And so some of the passes were given away on social media, and some of them were done in their website, but people didn't get them. So they were expressing frustration, and then the passes were non-transferable, and so the company ends up issuing an explanation on its website. The better idea is not to do that. It has backfired on every single brand that's ever done it. Why would you do it? Although this past week, which where National Coffee Day happened, and many of the coffee chains, including Dunkin' Donuts, not Starbucks, they were too cheap to do it, had free coffee or 99-cent coffee in their stores, and that seemed to work. I did not see any lines around the block, but you know, when it comes to free food, it just doesn't work.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're going to do that, you really need to think through the implications of all the things that could possibly happen, and what is the reason why you're doing it too, right? You know, I mean, you have to have a specific reason to do it. I know, you know, some local restaurants that I've worked with. Have done BOGO deals, right? Those are common. Buy one, get one free, and the object is to get new customers in the door, right? It's worth giving away some food to acquire a new customer. It's a cost of acquiring a new customer. So.
But at least they bought something.
Yeah.
So, you know,
yeah.
okay, and you can do that until until the cows come home. So let's move on to better news. Go ahead, Dave. You start.
So yeah, there's protesters in Hong Kong. They are trying to pressure the Hong Kong authorities and the Chinese central government in Beijing to allow free elections of their city's leaders in 2017 with a genuine choice of candidates. Or the Chinese government is proposing basically a sham election where they've picked the candidates, right? So there's an uproar called the Umbrella Revolution. Pro-democracy activists are surrounding government buildings, and of course the government is cracking down on their communications. First they banned Instagram, then WeChat, and Sina Weibo, and now the protesters are using an app called FireChat app that allows smartphone users to talk to one another without the use of Wi-Fi or the internet. So it's a very clever way of circumventing the censors. The phones communicate directly with one another using Apple's iOS 7's multi-peer connectivity framework. So it's basically phone to phone, right? So it's not even using any of the infrastructure that the government can ban. The app is a San Francisco-based Open Garden makes the app, and their CEO told the BBC that 100,000 new accounts in Hong Kong were created within 24 hours. Wow. So they obviously found the app and are using it deliberately. The activists are also using drones to record aerial footage of the protesters to share with the outside world. So it fascinates me, these incidences of political agitation and protest, and how they use communications technology to spread their message and to tell the rest of the world about what they're up to. So.
It is remarkable that so far there has not been a violent reaction on the part of the Chinese government, who famously has had those in the past. And it's very brave of the protesters to continue doing what they're doing. I don't know what the outcome will be, but when I see them out there day after day, I think that they're really doing something admirable. And I hope that they're getting support from around the world, because they're in danger. There's no two ways about it. They're in danger, and that could change at any moment. So I also have some, well, not political, but one of the coolest ads I've ever seen is Kevin Richardson playing football with wild lions to sell Van Gils suits, and he has a sanctuary for wild animals, and he clearly has, amazing friendships with them. And in this video, he's wearing a Van Gils suit, and he goes into the wild to meet the lions, and he's horsing around with this lion that's quite obviously larger than he is, and he's riding it like it's a pony, and they're wrestling on the ground, and then the other lions come, and he plays football with them. And then about 2/3 of the way through the video, you're able to click to see the Van Gils collection and buy a suit. And they have contributed to his sanctuary, but I couldn't stop watching it because it was just so absolutely incredible to see these wild lions playing football. You would get a kick out of this, Dave.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, for the longest time we said when you have clients come to you and say, well, we need a viral video, you roll your eyes, right? Because they don't really know what is involved and stuff, and well, you can just make one just like that. You can't make one just like that, but there is a formula. There are elements that work for viral videos, right? And this is one that playing football with lions. What? I gotta see that, right?
I mean, it is incredible. It's had several million views since it was launched, and I'm sure it will become a classic, and he looks great in the suit, I gotta say. But and the collection is absolutely beautiful, and the work that he does is just extraordinary. So it's a win all the way around, and I just think it's great. And so there's also a new awareness campaign following the ALS challenge, and in this one, the hashtag is Feeling Nuts, and it's a campaign to raise awareness of testicular cancer. There's no donation involved. You're supposed to post a photo of yourself grabbing your nuts and then challenge others to do the same. And celebrities are doing it. And, forget about pouring water over your head. There's a new awareness raising trend. And one of the writers about it suggested that if you were going to take this picture, that you do the water over your head a second.
I don't know if I'm going to be doing that.
Well, everybody else is, Dave. Maybe one.
Maybe I don't know. I guess I think that these types of the format now is right. Challenge somebody to do something to raise money for, raise awareness for, whatever. I'm a little skeptical about how long that formula is going to last. They tend to play themselves out. ALS was huge. A lot of other organizations are probably going to get some benefit out of doing it because it's still relatively novel and new. But over time, I wouldn't be surprised if ultimately that isn't as effective as it once was. Anyway,
I think 6 months on the outside for that before somebody else comes up with something compelling. I mean, you're an also-ran. I mean, there are brands that have made their whole reputation on being second, and so you don't necessarily have to be the first. But yeah, there comes a point where you need to do something original, and this one's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I can see how it'd take off. So another one that we were talking about videos early. Here's another video example. The NHL National Hockey League, and GoPro are partnering to provide point-of-view videos of action. Now, you've heard me talk about this over and over the course of our show about how the helmet cam should be standard operating procedure for the NFL. I have a GoPro. I use it playing football. They're going to be using the footage for promos on online, and then woven into the broadcast themselves to demonstrate certain plays and everything. Esquire magazine, for the longest time, I don't know if they still have it, had a feature called What It's Like, and they ran it every month, and it would be somebody telling what it's like to do something. So Rod Carew, a Hall of Fame baseball player for the Minnesota Twins, was famous for stealing home plate, and it's a amazingly exciting play in baseball when somebody steals home plate. He did it all the time, so he wrote one of these things for Esquire about what it's like to steal home, right? Very cool. The point of view, the what it's like, is a popular format for content, right? Even before GoPro, point of view videos were doing well on YouTube and everything were popular. So GoPro has really harnessed that format and made a massive business out of it. This is just another example of that. They're taking up. They've started with extreme sports, and now they're taking it to the pro sports leagues.
Well, there was a bit of a controversy over a GoPro video on Facebook this week. There was a video of a dog jumping out of an airplane on the guy's back, and somebody posted it saying, "Wow, isn't that great?" And me and a lot of other people said, "That dog doesn't look happy to me, and you want to jump out of whatever you want to jump out of, leave the dog at home." And,
dog doesn't really have a choice no matter, right?
Well, exactly. I mean, the dog is what's it going, and then they had it in another dangerous situation, and I didn't think that was the least bit entertaining. But GoPro, I think their marketing overall is pretty damn amazing. So I have a couple more that were really pretty cool, and one of them is Topman, using a really novel way to use Google Plus Hangouts. They've launched a personal shopping service. So you look at the clothes, and then you book an appointment, and a personal shopper does a hangout with you and discusses which ones would look best on you, and you can buy them in the Hangout because Hangouts are shoppable using the Showcase app, and they have a whole staff. They have like a dozen people who are there to do these personal shopping hangouts. You book an appointment with Topman, and they spend the time with you for you to be able to shop. I think that's incredibly innovative of them.
That's really, really smart. That's really sort of where I've been talking about how retail needs to go that way, especially for shopping for clothes and everything. And I've talked about how I don't know why the department stores of the world don't have a video game where you can go shopping with your friend, go into the store, have a virtual experience, and shop with your friend online and get their opinion and everything. I think that's sort of where Facebook is going with Oculus Rift too. I think the reason they bought that is you can have peer-to-peer commerce going on if you can get your friend's valued opinion.
Real time, yeah.
Real time, right.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So the other, I often talk about bad customer service here, and I've experienced some of the most incredible customer service on a $14 purchase I made for an enzyme spray that cleans up cat urine and dog puke and other lovely animal incidents that pet owners are familiar with. And I bought this $14 product on Amazon. I bought it instead of Nature's Miracle, which is the well-known brand, and this one's called Rocco and Roxie. And what do I get? I get an email from the president of the company saying, "Thank you very much for buying my product." I figure it's a form, it's not a real person. And I wrote back and said, "Wow, I'm really impressed." And he said, "I'm so glad that you bought our product, and welcome to our family, and I'd like to send your dog some treats." I was like, "No, you don't have to do that, really, it's fine." And he sent Fanny a bag of dog treats, and then a week later, I get another email for my $14 purchase. I get another email saying, "How do you like the product? Have you tried it?" Now, as it happens, the cat threw up, and yeah, I did try it, and it's great. Rocco and Roxie enzyme spray is great, but how's that for customer service?
That's building customer loyalty. That's building customer activism, right?
Absolutely.
That's great. That's a great
That is
example.
great stuff. I mean, but I really thought it was an autoresponder. I thought it was. I really never expected it to be a human
Which
being.
makes it all the more effective, right? Because we become trained to the getting the auto-responded emails, right? We figure it's a machine replying to me. When it turns out not to be, you're like, oh wow.
Pretty amazing. So the other thing that has to do with pets is if you ever tried to take a picture of your dog or your cat, the minute you get the camera out, they're sitting there doing something really adorable. You get the camera out and they move and they go away. So now there's this thing called Barkcam, which is an app, and when you start to point the camera, it makes sounds, including cat meows and squeak toys and doorbells or bag of treats rustling. That'll get any animal looking at you. And so when you tap the shutter button, it makes the sound, and that makes the animal look at you. And then once you get the picture, you can add text filters and stickers and chat bubbles, and then you can share it on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and it's free.
Very good.
It's so much fun.
Nice. One last good for me, Marriott is using Oculus Rift in a to teleport travelers to Hawaii and London. This is a very clever or cool. It could be cool. I don't. We'll see how it plays out. But example of using sort of the latest technology in a marketing campaign. So they're using this virtual reality as part of a Travel Brilliantly campaign aimed at connecting with the next gen travelers. They're taking a display on tour to major cities. It's a phone booth-like kiosk that you step into called the teleporter, and coupled with a Oculus Rift headset, so you put on an Oculus Rift headset, it transports people to the black sand beach in Hawaii or the top of the Tower 42 in London. Started in New York City. It'll travel to 8 cities, ending in San Francisco in November. They're encouraging social sharing using the Get Teleported hashtag, but it's just a great example of experiential marketing, tapping in new technologies that actually you can experience. You can have experiences virtually, and then prompting the social sharing and everything on top of that. So I'm fascinated to see how this will play out.
That's brilliant. That really is. I like that a lot. Good find too. So
are we on to you had your shiny new object was the
Well, I have another one, actually. You can't get it, but you will be able to get it eventually, I guess. And that is that IKEA has a magic mirror in one of their stores, and you stand in front of the mirror, and it'll say, "Great hat, Dave." Well, not great hat. And I won't use your name, but it'll say, "You look spectacular today. Wow, I love what you've done with your hair. Are you working out? You look terrific." And and then they film the customer reactions, and of course, customers love this. And I want one. I want one in my house because often the first thing you look at in the morning is yourself in the mirror, and it's not always a pretty sight if you had a rough night the night before. So to have the mirror say, "Wow, you're looking gorgeous today," it would be lovely. And if I don't know how they do this, but if the man has a beard, they say, "That's a terrific beard," So
That's awesome. I want to see how many people say thank you to a mirror.
They do. They're so happy. They're like, "Oh wow," Everybody, it makes everybody happy. The goal of it is to have happy shoppers. I mean, what could be a better goal?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. You make your customers smile. That goes a long way, right?
And tell their friends. You won't believe what happened when I was in IKEA today.
Cool. So I've got, this is an interesting shiny new object, Yourbot. It is a Kickstarter project that aims to preserve your persona for posterity as a digital avatar. So it's a Kickstarter project, as I said. It creates a psychological profile of you. You basically answer a bunch of questions. And uses an app to record a 360 view of yourself to create a 3D digital avatar. that can then be shared with your descendants after you pass on. It's capable of communicating your memories and your personal anecdotes. So you tell, ask you questions like, "What was your first kiss?" and you explain, you tell the story of what was your first kiss. So it records all those, and they're selling these devices for creating your digital avatar. I don't know if this is going to take off. I don't know if it's going to work or not, but it is part of the whole idea of what do you do with your online personality after you die, right? I mean, it is part and parcel of who you are, what you do online, and all the content you create and the things that you say. We don't write diaries anymore. We have Facebook, right? So how do you capture all that and pass that on? So it's a good question. I don't know that anybody's got an answer to it, but this is part of somebody trying to do that.
It's like StoryCorps, but with an avatar. StoryCorps is recorded, and I keep meaning to do that with my dad and with a couple of friends who are elderly. And you know, you do want those memories, but I mean, this is a little bit on the creepy side. So I think that brings us to projects, and we both have them. So tell us about yours.
Sure. So last week I did a presentation for a local conference called Mini Analytics. Mini is M-I-N-N-E. It's a abbreviation for Minnesota Analytics. Mini Analytics Conference. It was they do an amazing job. So it's a conference about analytics, and they this one was on marketing. So they asked me to do a presentation, and my presentation was called "How to Fail at Content Marketing While Really Trying." And so I talked about ways in which organizations fail at content marketing and why, how that process breaks, when it breaks, what's it look like, and why does it break. I had a couple of case studies, one for IQ by Intel about how they do it right. Listed a bunch of stats. I'll have a video of my presentation available after the fact. I've got additional case studies, including Will It Blend case study, which continues. So I've put that all on a landing page. If you want to get it, you can get it by going to creativepr.com/mini-analytics, M-I-N-N-E analytics, and all the stats are there. My slides are there. The video will eventually be there, and additional case studies will be eventually there, so you get notified when those are available. So that's my project. And
it will be in the show notes for sure. And on our blog, which is the BeyondSocialMediaShow.com, I am speaking on Wednesday at the International Association of Business Communicators, and I am speaking about how it's an intranet conference, a global intranet conference, and I'm speaking about how companies are using Hangouts internally. And I interviewed 26 companies to find out the ways that they're using Hangouts inside their companies, and they range in size from startups to multi-billion-dollar multinational corporations, and they are all using Hangouts in very innovative ways, and a lot of them are using them for hiring interviews and of course for meetings, and some are doing mobile Hangouts. So I will be speaking about that on Wednesday in a 45-minute presentation in New York, and I'm kind of excited about that. And then I just want to say that on October 22nd, for the Public Relations Society of New York and part of Communications Week New York, I'm doing a hangout with the social media manager of NASA and the social media editor of the New York Times, and Ronnie Binzer, the Hangout helper. And we are going to talk about Hangouts, of course, and how they fit into communications programs. And so you can watch that live online, and that address will also be in the show notes. And I think what we hear from NASA and the New York Times will be pretty interesting, because NASA does Hangouts from space on a pretty regular basis.
That's awesome! I can't wait. That's cool. Are you gonna have slides or anything from your international?
Yes, I will post those slides, and I think that those will be interesting to a lot of companies, because the interesting question that came up when I was doing these interviews was, have you found anybody else that does this? Yeah, a few hundred. few thousand, yeah, actually I did. Well, and the biggest number, of course, Google eats their own dog food. They do 20,000 Hangouts internally every day because everybody talks to everybody on Hangouts. And one of the biggest reasons that companies gave me was because it eliminates all this excessive and ridiculous email back and forth. You just get on a Hangout, you ask a question, you're done. And so a lot of companies are doing this just to cut down on all the stupid emails, like the ones that say, thank you.
Yeah, that too, and you can record the experience, right? So email, my frustration with email is so often knowledge, wisdom gets lost in email, and if you can record it as a video, you'll have to do a little work optimizing it, but it's there, right?
Well, the thing that, I mean, my pet peeve about email, and I obviously am making no progress with this, is that people don't change the subject line when the subject changes. So then Gmail threads your emails, and you have like 40 or 50 emails that have 10 or 15 different subjects with the same subject line. I challenge you to go find anything that was important in that stream. So if people don't change the subject line, they deserve what they get, I guess, but Hangouts are a much more effective way to do that.
Gmail in particular hides the ability to change the subject line in a thread like that too, so they don't make
you have to know where it is. That's true.
Yeah. So let's get on to let's wrap this up with some numbers, okay?
Let me just say where it is. When you're writing a Gmail, there's a little arrow underneath the addresses, and when you click on it, it says Edit Subject Line. Use that.
There you go. Like you close the loop on that. So the daily numbers. This has to do with what I mentioned earlier, the case study I did with Will It Blend. And I know a lot of people know this story about Will It Blend, but the genius of it is it's an illustration of how content marketing works over the long haul. So the story continues, right? They recently uploaded a video on September 23rd. Blending the iPhone 6 Plus and the Samsung Galaxy Note 3, so it was a blend off, right? Today, that video has received 2.3 million views, 14,253 likes, 4,155 shares. There were 2,839 comments on the video. Time watched, so overall the views that amounted to 9 years worth of viewing. And the video drove 5,576 more subscriptions to BlendTech's YouTube channel. Now, I did an analysis of what that video would cost as a primetime TV spot. Okay, that was, at the time I did this, the numbers were 1.8 million views. So at a cost of $112,000 and $100,000. For a average 2014 30-second primetime TV ad, if you do the calculation, running the BlendTech Will It Blend video once in primetime is worth $616,550. So, for the amount of what they put into the video and the amount of views they've got, building an audience over the long time, they're reaping tons and tons of benefits. And there's your ROI, right?
I heard him speak at an Ad Age conference a couple of years ago. His name is Tom. I can't think of his last name. And he...
Dixon.
What is it?
Tom Dixon.
Tom Dixon, right. And he's very unassuming about the whole thing. And he started it as a demonstration, and it just sort of took off, and they were smart enough to keep doing it. And what has it been, Dave? It's been 5 or 6 years, hasn't it?
Right. So 2008, I think, is when they first started.
It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
And they've continued. They've trained people to expect new videos when a new consumer electronics product comes out, right?
Yeah, I knew they'd have to do the iPhone 6. I didn't realize they'd already done it, but now I can't wait to see it. But yeah, and he's the same in every one, and the music is the same, and the view is the same, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. So again, you can get my case study at creativepr.com/mini-analytics, M-I-N-N-E analytics. There you go.
So that brings us to the end of episode 66 of the Beyond Social Media show, and we will have the video time-stamped and on our blog, and that will include the playlist, and we will be back on Saturday next week at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And you can find Dave Erickson on Twitter at @DErickson. His blog is eStrategyBlog.com. He's got eStrategy TV. He's got a whole bunch of other online presences, and you can find all of those listed at the end of the YouTube video and on the Beyond Social Media Show blog. And I am BL Achman. I'm CEO of Maximum-Plus.com for all things Google Plus, coaching and special events. And I am What's Next on Twitter. My blog is What's Next blog, and I occasionally write for Ad Age. And we thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks for watching.